All right, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Shalom. We are live. Let me get everybody to mute everybody. Mute your mics. Let's see if we can cut this down. Okay, perfect, perfect. And so today our topic is relationships, and we're going to deal with a lot of different types and aspects of relationships because I think that one of our main problems that we have is that we are either misusing relationships or don't know how to properly um, be in relationships, no matter whether you're relating to your as an adult to a child, mother, father to the children, or whether you're in your relationship between yourself and the enemy, your relationship between your brother and your sister. So we're going to get into all of that, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, I know we're going to come up with the proper solutions. And on our panel today, we have with us Sister Gwen, we have Brother Omar, and we have Brother Just Us. And so I'm going to mute myself and then let Sister Gwen, who we all know, but still let Sister Gwen introduce herself. Then we'll go to Brother Omar and then Brother Just Us. All right, Sister Gwen, you're up.
Hey there, my name is Gwen, and well, okay, I'm Black First, advocating homeschooling and separation of the races and separation and no interracial dating or mating or even friendships anymore. That's where I'm at now. Think of the people who doing harm to Black people as demon kin or devil kin or even beast kin. Hate to be mean, but it's a reaction to reality, unfortunately. Okay, that's about that. That's it in a nutshell. Everything I'm saying is going to be circling around those major points. All right, bye bye.
Brother Omar.
Yes. Peace be unto everyone. My name is Omar Shamsuddin, and I am, first and foremost, a Muslim, a human being. Um, I have endeavored to embark upon a journey of self-empowerment, self-love, and I'm definitely on board 1,000% for loving my people. Um, I think that we have to, as a people, number one, begin to identify a proper name for ourselves. Um, but that's not the discussion of the topic this evening. But I think we need a name that's going to bring us together. All of us. And this is something that we have to look into more deeper. And I think it is only something that we can do. I personally cannot accept being named by anybody else, because in my holy Quran, my book of worship, God tells the human being, well, He tells Adam to tell them their name. And I, being one that believes that I am Adam, you know. So I think the first name that I have to tell me, my name. And I think that we as a people have to tell ourselves our name, one that we all can get behind, one with dignity, one with love. And I think that that just might. I'm going to stop there in the introduction, and we'll deal with it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Brother Jess.
You can hear me? You can hear me?
Brother Jess, go ahead.
You can hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So something's wrong with that there earlier. Brother Jess us got a YouTube channel also. She got Jesus TV 33. Definitely all about relationship and from a standpoint of the consciousness, because we all are consciousness at the end of the day. Whether you on this earth or you leave this earth, your consciousness may remain if somebody decide to keep you living. So I'm more standing from the separation of the consciousness, which those are agreeable and those are disagreeable. That's why I stand with it. And I definitely think we all should try to figure out how we could get along, as consciousness, and see that we all are one and we are actually speaking and getting along with our own self, and we do not get along with our own self and realize within ourselves that we need to learn to become better consciousness to be able to, upgrade ourselves and be better consciousness in this world. And I'm very excited about this relationship because I really think it's very important that we get to know ourselves and be able to get along with others as well too. Because a lot of times we say we do, but we really don't. And the rest of there.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Brother Jess. I want to get some clarification. So, when you say you want us to be able to get along as consciousness, who is the us that you're talking about, and what is this consciousness that you're saying?
What I'm talking about is when I say we want to get along, is as a whole, like I'm talking about everybody. And what do I mean by that is when someone do you wrong and your perception of consciousness, how you get along with that person is to know that, hey, this person is someone who can do me wrong. So I need to prepare myself in the wrongdoing of the action of this person consciousness. So you have to understand what's happening. Don't just get upset about it, but get yourself in a position where you know how to handle it. Whether you got to get around it, where you got to avoid it, or where you got to protect yourself from it. So when I say getting along, I'm talking about don't be in the ignorant stage. Like if a snake comes to bite you, you have to consciously know where this snake bites. So I need to protect myself. But I'm not going to be ignorant or be upset that a snake bites. That's the nature of the snake. So when I'm saying getting along, I'm talking about knowing where you stand and where the snake stands. So you getting along from a relationship of this is a snake. I know if the snake get too close to me, it's a possibility on getting some venom. So I'm saying getting along in that sense, not getting along as far as you together getting along.
When you talk about consciousness, what exactly are you meaning when you talk about that?
Well, we all have an awareness of self, which is our brain, which is the ego, which we need, of course, to maneuver inside this world. And then you have the subconscious, or you have the inner self, which you're dealing with the creator. And when you're dealing with the creator, you're not conscious at that moment. That's the creator dealing through you. But you being conscious have to know that, hey, these guys who are around me or ladies who are around me in human flesh, they're actually reflection of me. Because the only way to know your weakness and your strength is through people, which is their consciousness. So when you talk to them, you're going to hear, hey, you talk too loud. Oh, well, you talk too low. Well, you need to mind up. Well, you need to be more educated. So your reflection is letting you know how to develop yourself, especially when you decide to go in yourself to develop yourself to become a better person. Then there's things going to happen. Like example, if I say, well, you know what, I need more patience, there's somebody going to get on my nerve probably. So consciously, this is a way to allow me to get more patient. It's not going to be a Suzanne, but things happen. My reflection come at me and allow me to better myself.
Okay. Sister Gwen, did you want to make a comment on that? On anything that Brother Jess went over?
Well, not really. But I think if I understand him right, is that he was saying that the reality that we live in is a reflection of how we what we are and what we need to develop for ourselves. So if an enemy comes and does us harm, it might be a lesson in there that we're supposed to overcome. And some of that's some of that is sort of like new age stuff or old age, and it might be true, and there might be something to that. And so the lesson here is how to get ourselves out of this situation by any means necessary so that we can grow. And that means separating from the enemy so that we can further develop our own selves. I do believe that we are here to learn so that we can get closer to our divine self. That's our mission. Our ultimate mission is to get closer to our divine self. As far as our divine self goes, we're gonna have to start a new religion, just like a new language and a new name, because anything that's been in somebody else's hands, be it religion or language or anything, if it's not been in black hands consistently, then it's already been tainted. So it has to be anew. And that's what we usually do when it's time for us to grow again. So we need our new language, our new names, and our separate realities and renew religion. So that's where we are now, and this is our obstacle to overcome. So be it. We're still on the right path. That's exactly what we're already doing. Okay.
And let me ask you this: when you say our divine self,
Mhm.
what does that look like?
It looks like us. As I always say, that the divine thing that we need to be worshiping, no matter what we want to call it, needs to be black because we're black, and it needs to be an extreme of us and the most ideal representation of us. And since we're vilified for being black, we need to understand that black is a divine force and a positive divine force, a creative force. That's for us and us alone. It's not anybody else's. We can't, even if the gods first were ours, they fell into other people's hands. And whatever we're worshiping now has been through other people's hands. So this thing that we worship has got to be ours and ours alone. We have to be its priority. Most divine forces that we speak of that in modern times are actually constructs by human minds. The real divine forces we can't even conceive, really. Only thing we can conceive of as much as we can conceive, and that's very limited in the divine in the universe. Our brains can't handle a lot of stuff, so we process by making constructs and giving it names, but we don't actually know its real name unless it reveals itself to a person, and that name is filtered down. And some of those names that we know now may be the case. I do believe in gods, and I believe in levels of gods, and I believe levels of divinity. Uh, I actually think that every god that anybody ever came up with is actual because it followed the same path as every other god, even the ones that the Muslims and Christians worship. The same development and actions is still happen for them like it happens for everybody else's, including the shaman that's worshiping a ideal tree trunk or a tree stump. Okay, it's still a man-made construct. So I don't think that the God of the Bible is no more or less real than the others. The path that the God manifests is through the hands of man. I once asked my mother about gods and things like that. And the answer she gave me was one of the best I've heard thus far. And I said, because she was reading a book called The World's Religions. And I asked, well, which one's the best? She said, none of them, none of them, nothing in the universe shows where one God is better than the other one, or one religion is better than the other one. She said that the Christians get sick just like the Buddhists. She said the Hindus die just like the Muslims. Basically, and she said that the sun shines on China like its sun shines on America. So if there's any difference, it's not from the universe, it's from people. And I think that that's still one of the best answers, because it's man-made. Humans made the differences. They had the wars and fought the battles and got the converts, but the universe gave everybody the same footing, for better or worse. So since that's the case, we need to make our own, and it's got to be black, just like us, and blacker.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Sister Gwen.
You're welcome.
Brother Omar, would you like to comment on anything that you've heard thus far?
Uh, yes, thank you. I was thinking, I guess from an Islamic perspective, when it comes down to God, Allah, there is a chapter in the Quran. It goes something like this. It says, "Kul huwallahu ahad." Say it, Allah is one. Allahu Samad. That Allah is eternal and absolute. Lam Yalid, that it never gave birth to anyone, while Lam Yulad, nor was it ever born, while Lam Yakun Lahu Kufuwan Ahad. And there is nothing in the whole of creation, in the whole of universes, like unto that Allah. Now, we have a tendency as human beings to create God in our image. We use pronouns like he, she. Those are pronouns of humans. They're too small to represent, in my estimation, that which is above and bigger than all. And I think that it is an insult to pull it down to our ignorant level. The whole notion of a God, or of an Allah, or of a creator, is to be something bigger than us, something that we can look to, not to have the frailties or the frailties that we have. I remember an individual said once, he said, if there did not exist a God, something similar to what Sister Gwen just said, the human being would have to create it. Because we all reaches a limit where we have went as far, we have intellectualized, we have spiritualized as far as we can, and according to our own rational, spiritual, intellectual ability. Now, once the human being reaches that point, there's nothing else. If there is no hope that there is something greater, there is no hope, and the only thing left is for it to turn on itself. And that is what we have done. I mean, if we look back in history, we find that man have worshipped just about everything we can imagine within this physical creation. We have worshipped the sun, the moon, the stars. We have worshipped fire. We have worshipped air. We have worshipped just about everything. The problem is this: anything that we can identify and conquer no longer is justified in being our God. The last thing that man had to overcome in this physical creation, in being God, is himself or herself. We have tested everything else. We have tested the stars, the universe. We have tested it all. And everything, we go out and we find a way to conquer it. Therefore, eliminating it as a possibility of being God. So watch, that was a problem with that Abraham found. He found his people worshiping statues. He asked them, why would you worship that if it failed, it can't do anything for itself? You got to pick it up. I mean, yeah, look, we human ourselves. We were taught in the Nation of Islam by Elijah Muhammad, and he's not the only one that have said it, that the black man is God. Can that hold up? Can it survive the scrutiny of human intellect? I mean, it sounds good. It makes me feel good. I would love for it to be true, but my own small intellect tells me it can't be so. Because there is no way that God would allow an insignificant thing, white people, to rule it, to conquer it, to kill it. So we really have to examine things that people tell us and see if it will survive the scrutiny of science even. And we know that science is a very, very small study. Now, in terms of what brother Just Us has stated in reference to us being aware or conscious of our own innate abilities, there is something to that, But if we don't know about ourselves, we haven't realized us, how could we possibly think that we can comprehend God? And I don't even like the term God, but that's a term that most people are familiar with. So I can accept that. But that is bigger than everything, that is all knowing, omnipotent, omniscient, that is everywhere. I'm going to stop there because I mean we can really go somewhere with this. But I'm gonna stop there and yield the floor back, and we'll see what we get into later.
Okay, let me ask you a question real quick, brother.
Yes, sir.
Um, so hold on one moment. So are you saying that uh, you're gonna have to mute your mic because that's picking up there. We can only have
Whatever.
one mic open at a time. Okay. Yeah, so we only gonna do one mic open at a time. So the feedback. So my question to you is, and if you could give it to us in like 2 minutes. One, what is God? Right? What is God? And two, I'm understanding you to say that man cannot be God. Is that, do I got you right on that part?
Okay. Let me first start out by saying that at best I can give you as my opinion, my observation from my studying, uh, and going inside of myself and getting in touch with that innate whatever it is that's in me, that is within me. Uh, can man be God? I would have to admit that we can be God with a small g, because we do have the innate ability to create. Um, so the mere fact that we can create, we can justify accepting being a small God. But uh, can we do according to our the depiction of God that has been given to us? We say that God is everywhere, that God sees all. We say that God hears all. Maybe we can justify by saying the whole of humanity as one could possibly wear that title, knowing and understanding that it can't possibly here at this time, at this point in our stages of development, what is going on in other worlds aside from the known worlds that we know. We're constantly discovering through our giant telescopes that there are endless worlds, and we have no clue what is going on there. However, should we focus our attention within ourselves just to discover this minute world, it might open up other possibilities to us. But we haven't even conquered our own little bodies. We haven't conquered living beyond 100, 200 years. There is so much into being that we call God, or that we call Allah. Now, that's the question that you asked me, Brother Muhammad, has been asked me several times. And you know what my answer to them is that I have no clue what is God. Because in acknowledging my own limitation opens up the possibility that I can grow and evolve into a better knowledge of that which we call God. Because the minute that I can describe God to you, it ceases to be God. I hope that answered your question. If not, ask another question for further clarity. Hopefully, I can come up with.
Yes, sir. You did. You answered the question. And I do have more questions, but I want to also get to the rest of the panel. So don't worry, because we're gonna come right back around to this, because I think what you're opening up is very, very important. I don't think I know. It's very, very important, and it's something that we have to get a grasp of. And I think just as Sister Gwen was saying that we have to create our own, and just as our viewer Azul Blue, those terms omniscient, etc., are also man-made, created terms and ideologies. It is our best interest to search for understanding of God or spirituality outside of the traditional explanations. And so I want to get into that, so that we'll have a good understanding of what's what. Um, we got Brother Isaiah joining us. Peace and blessings, Brother Isaiah. You got a comment you would like to add to the topic we're discussing?
You on mute.
Can
And how you doing?
Oh, okay. A little bit late. I forgot all about it. So what's up, my people? Gwen, brother Omar, brother Muhammad, and everybody, and Jesus too, right? Uh, yeah, there's a lot of things that
Just
you can really get
us.
into, and I'm
Just
really feeling
us.
what
Not
brother.
Jesus.
There's a lot of things that can be said and that can be added. There's no wrong answer, but personally speaking, you have to have a God experience, and I think when Brother Maurice were talking about his experiences and how he got to where he is. And all of us have our, own godly like experiences, our own burning bush moments. You know what I mean. But some people are more uh, intuitive, are more connected because they're not involved And we spoke about this on your show. When you become connected to the positiveness of life, and you avoid the negativity, the vibrations of that negativity of other people, and even of your own voice, you become more godly in a way will notice. They what I mean? They can sense it beyond their eyes, beyond their touch. And when you can really connect people or connect with people because you have the ability to sense certain things, and you know from which that person is coming from beyond their body language, beyond their tone of voice. There's just something that you feel that is in that person that allows you to bring them back from a mentality of death to one of life, from a world of negativity that they cannot see or fathom, and you are pointing them in the direction of their own salvation. Because to be honest, on the hello, oh okay, but the other thing too is like if you want to become a holy being, HOLY, you got to become a holy being, WHOLLY. To me, that means upon my experiences and my truth that I know that the God of Isaiah is, because that is me. It is based on my experiences. It is based on my truths, universal truth of the I am that I am. What the other God name is, it's all one and the same. I am that I am. And we have to understand that speaking things in is very, we spoke into a going to high school, going and finishing that. And long before that, there was a 12-year journey. If you're not smart, beyond the normal, it takes you 12 years to, graduate out of high school. Some people do I the idea is still the same. First thinking, then speak it existence, and then the catalyst. Work dead. Without work is dead. You gotta stay on. And nuclear physics uh, physicist thing. She wrote, you're back against the wall or whatever, and then she wrote on top of that, PhD nuclear physicist. This was when she was 12 years old. She had it in her mind to do it. She had the requisites. She had more acquire the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding the very three principles of God. To me, and when you have, excuse me, the motorbike going. When you have that, God that is a reflection of your own being within the universe. Every time you look into the universe, you're looking at a reflection of you. And like Brother Muhammad was saying, there are billions upon billions of universes, not just ours. We don't. There are billions upon billions of galaxies. Not kind of silly within this three-dimensional state in which we are, and to be able to see if we were living on, somebody referencing like if we only live 200 years. Well, if you look at it, the Earth is three rocks from the sun. It takes the whole 365 days to go around the sun. It takes longer. I think it was Jupiter, a heck of a lot slower, and we live thousands of years because it's further away and it takes longer. I might be wrong, but I think it might be 500 years every 1 year that we live if we were living on Jupiter. So it really depends upon how did Einstein say relativity. the relative of where you are and where you want to be is all how you visualize things and what level of understanding that you have. And there's a lot of people who, for whatever reasons, and then I'm just kind of like giving you the, the general idea of how I am saying it, based on what our ancestors taught, right? Is that, for you, on the one hand, you are a spiritual being and on earth. But if our ancestors saw it rightly, if our ancestors saw it rightly, they saw themselves as gods. Every civilization, not some, but every civilization upon the planet, this planet, that lasted for thousands and thousands of years. Be it as it may, as it is said, when you become connected to the past, you understand the present, you can predict the future. You cannot cut yourself off from our ancestors. That is a dead man walking, a dead woman walking, a dead people walking. And so when we can understand the philosophical and the political and the social dynamics and the economic dynamics of our ancestors, how they were able to bring about different ecosystems, that political ecosystem, that economic ecosystem, allowed us to really move forward and to be able to have civilization that lasts long. You can't help but what other reason, what other way can you not see it? And that's the reason why I am so deaf on making sure that whatever I say, whatever I write, whatever group I am participating in, that there's a fundamental connection to the overall gist of what our ancestors taught, and that is, I am that. Hello.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. Your mic was breaking up every here and there, so we really
This
couldn't
internet
get an
might be going. Can you hear me?
understanding. Yeah, I can hear
Oh,
you now, but you were like really choppy, so we really couldn't get an understanding of everything that you were saying. But if you could, real quickly, I think you said something about there are three principles of God or something like that. Did you say that? And if you did, can you give us what those three principles are real quick?
really hear you.
I said, I think you said something about that there are three principles of God. And if you did say that, could you tell us what these principles are real quick?
I, okay. Can you hear me? Oh shit. Hello. Can you hear me? Uh, mm, well, I don't know. Three principles are what Solomon exhibited: knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The three most precious jewels that a person has at their disposal. And I don't think you can go for long without it. Without it, and you live longer. You know what I mean? understanding of the basic mentality and way in which people think. And it's all reading the book um, Machiavellian, because when you do have that level of understanding that permeates your whole being, you know what I mean? People will be drawn to you. You know, like instead of acting like an asshole, you act like a person that is truly kind. And I think the greatest religion in the world is kindness, because that in itself draws people in respect to what our ancestors taught as far as the meiotic philosophy of which all other so-called and a religion to me is just a way of life that helps you find the way of life for you. You know what I mean? You don't eat a whole hamburger all at once. You take bites. You take bites. And this is the reason why, I stress that it is a daily jihad upon yourself. You just don't do it one time and say, okay, I got it. It is a daily, week, yearly, decade long until you leave here, that you are constantly improving yourself and your level of understanding, you know what I mean? And knowledge and wisdom. You just don't stop with a PhD and thinking you know every motherfucking thing. Even if you do get a master's degree, even if you do get a PhD, you must challenge your own beliefs.
Okay. We lost our brother. Um, I want to ask the panel real quickly. Um, when we're speaking of this the God entity, are you coming from a spirituality point of view, or are you coming from a religious point of view? And I guess also you would have to answer: is there a difference between the spirituality and the religion, the religious aspect? Because a lot of our people will say, I don't want nothing to do with religion. I'm more into spirituality, right? So I want to know, when are you coming from a religious point of view, or are you coming from a spirituality point of view? And when I say religious, right, so this is how I would define that. I would define, a person going to the church, um, you know, and because Sunday they're supposed to go to church, so they go to church. Um, that's their religion. They're doing these things because this is what I'm supposed to do. On these days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, I'm there. Then with spirituality is not so much, okay, yeah, I got to go to this building, right? You understand it on a different level. You're communicating with God, whether it's through your voice, whether you're just talking or whether you're singing, um, and you coming into your own. So I want to get that from you all, which perspective, because it will allow me better to ask better questions if I know what perspective we're coming from. So we'll start with just us. What perspective are you from, just us, and what is the difference between the two?
You can hear me, brother?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
All right. First, I first want to definitely want to thank the brother Omar for taking some time to understand once you try to know God, you lose it right there. That's definitely the right path he's on, and he's definitely correct. But I guess he's still searching for it, which is good because I was doing the same thing, and it is more to it than that. Now, as far as your question, um, I think religion, my humble opinion, is a trap to stay in the physical world. The word spirituality is a trap to stay in the physical world. They both are illusions, and it's only reality. And the reality is the point where I could be wrong with the brother, but I see his intent is to go to what Brother Omar was saying. It's when you get to a point where it's not you. Because in this world, we deal with Lucifer knowledge. Everything we learn it from the light bearer Lucifer. That's where we get it from. It's Lucifer who is actually our God in the physical world. That's where we get our knowledge from. It's all about Lucifer. Whenever you're dealing with the creator, right? Because Lucifer is a God. So when we say God, we actually worshiping Lucifer when we're dealing with the ego and the physical body. We actually giving our allegiance to Lucifer. And I'm not saying Lucifer in the way of it being bad. Lucifer is just a light bearer to give knowledge. He's the one that give knowledge to the human beings to let us know science and technology. That's the job of Lucifer. When you deal with the creator, you have no knowledge. It's the creator that worked through you. There's no knowledge in that part. As soon as you gasp for just 1% of a knowledge or a half or a quarter% of knowledge, you lost the connection. Now you're dealing with Lucifer again, which is dealing with ego. When you're trying to quantify what this creator is. So we have to get to a point where we don't deal with ourselves. Like there's a saying, you got to lose yourself to find yourself. What that means is that you have to go within self, not without self. Anyone that stays without self is still dead. It's still lost. It's still searching like the prodigal child, trying to return back to their father. We all are like the prodigal child. Once we on this platform talking to where we are, we still a prodigal child. Once we get into the state of, and there's not even a word for it. As soon as I put a word on it, we back as a prodigal child. There ain't a word for it, but there is initiation. There's ways to get there, and we all have our own self initiation. It's not something that a person can do for you because it's an inner thing. And once you get to that inner point of it, the creator, like Jesus said himself, it's not of my will. It's the creator, it wasn't Jesus had knowledge, of course, but if he used his knowledge, then he would finish. It was all about the creator working through him. So he did something. He went in a state of consciousness where he didn't use his consciousness, but he used the creator consciousness to work through the physical body. Now, our consciousness, of course, is not going to just disappear because we're still in the physical world. So you in and out of it. It's like the ladder go, but y'all may not know about that. But it's like going to heaven and coming to earth, being up and down, ebb and flows. There's time you're going to use the earthly self, which is ego, dealing with the Lucifer knowledge. There's time you're going to allow the creator move in you. But you have to be in the will of the creator to know when and when not to do things as well. So the creator is a knowing state. And I'm still doing it injustice by saying that. But that's the best way to relate it. So when you're in a knowing state, that's when that's when you have that increment understanding of you dealing with the creator. But when you're in a thinking state, you're not dealing with the creator. You're dealing with Lucifer, who's the God of this earth and who you worship daily, whether you know it or not. That's the God of this earth. So when they use these word gods, that's dealing with Lucifer knowledge. And keep in mind, I'm not saying Lucifer in the sense of it's evil. I'm not saying that. It is what it is. That's just what it is. Because when you truly want to unite with the creator, you ain't nothing no more. You finish. It's not about your mind. You don't even have a mind, as far as we're concerned. That's the creator mind. And that's why the scripture also talk about your works. It's like filthy rag. Actually, your righteousness is like filthy rags. It's like filthy rags. So I don't care how good you try to be, how so-called spiritual we try to be, that means nothing. It's only when we pretty much blank out ourselves, leave our consciousness alone, and allow the creator work through the body. It's when the real deal is at hand. I rest my mic.
All right, now that was a lot to take in, but I want to make sure I'm understanding you properly, Brother Jess. You're saying that intellect is Luciferian knowledge, right? I want to make sure I'm understanding you properly.
I didn't say intellect because
Okay.
the worldly knowledge is Luciferian knowledge. Your intellect is your personal personality. It's how you think and do things. But the worldly knowledge that you get is anything on the treaty level of knowledge is dealing with the Luciferian knowledge, not your intellect.
Okay, give me an example of something of worldly knowledge, and then give me an example of intellect.
Well, how you define intellect before we go forward?
I mean, we'd have to go by whatever definition you're going by.
Well, I never used the word intellect. You brought it up,
Okay.
so that's why I'm asking how you define it.
Okay, well then if you didn't bring it up, I don't want to put a word in your mouth. So you're saying that Luciferian knowledge is worldly knowledge. I'm on that part, right? Do I got that right?
You got that right, brother.
Okay. So give me an example of what is worldly knowledge, and then can you give me an example of what is godly knowledge?
All right, so I'm gonna start off because I have to set a foundation to it. So it's a and we're born in sin and shape and iniquity, right? So that means when someone born, we have to be formed to iniquity, which is the world, right? So you have to be formed to worldly things. So worldly knowledge could be, hey, go to school, do this, go to college, get a job, whatever the case, we'll take eat McDonald's, whatever, anything that pleases the body, anything that pleases the ego, anything based upon that. Is that dealing with the creator? No, that got nothing to do with the creator. And on top of that, you actually got to become back to a living soul. So you're not even a living soul at that point. You actually a living being that move on impulses. Someone tells you to do something, you think about it, you do it, but you're not a living soul. When I say living soul, again, you have to get back to that. And again, like the brother said, which I agree with him, as soon as you put a word on it, then you degrade it. So I'm trying my best to say it as close as possible. You have to get back to the point where you not actually living, but the creator's living through you. And once you get to that point, it's not worldly knowledge. To answer your question on that. But other than that, it's always going to be worldly knowledge. Because I'm not saying, hey, you don't have to live in the world. You got to do what you got to do. But there's some people like monks who choose not to. There's other people who choose not to. They go somewhere far, whether it's the jungles, whether it's the mountains, and they choose their best, try not to interact with the world. They try, but they got to still eat. They still got to drink water. They still got to do certain things to live. But we fight to live when actually living is actually dead. Living is actually dead. When you separate yourself from the physical, that's why someone say, what they say, absent from the body, present with the Lord. These sayings got something to it. Because once your consciousness leave the focus of the world and allow nothing to be there and the creator to move there, then you're not in worldly knowledge anymore. And I don't know, it may be something difficult to look at, and it may not be taken as a supervisor as I'm saying it. It is deeper than what is. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're watching a movie and there's people coming in, coming out. But if this movie is really good, you're going to be emerged with that movie. Literally emerge with it. So nothing around you don't even matter. So this is how you be emerged with the creator. So your thoughts don't even matter. You don't even exist at that point, really. It's the creator that's working through you. It's not about you anymore. And again, you're not going to live like that all your life, continue that way. You're still going to have a brain. I'm not saying you're not going to have a brain to still move in the 3D world. But your goal really is to learn how to separate your consciousness from the body. That's the end goal. Separate the consciousness from the body. And that may be a little deep for some people, but that's something that Jesus did. And he was the first begotten of the living dead. He had to go through certain traditions, he had to go through certain lessons. I mean, every great leader too, even uh Elijah Muhammad, you know, he had to go through rituals. He had to learn some things before he became who he was. He had to be tested before he stood up and became who he was. He was tested. He had to learn symbols so that way he could go in himself to know what he's saying is correct. He didn't just get that knowledge like that only from that one, only from Master Farad Muhammad. He went through a state of testing. He went through these things. And if we supposed to be following someone and we only want to call on their name, or let's call on the name of Jesus, and that's it. Come on, man. Whatever Jesus went through in the journey of Christ, which is a title, we should be going through that journey. So our goal is to study the mission of Christ. And if you decide to be an Elijah Muhammad, study the mission of Elijah Muhammad. What he did, you need to do that, not just his words only. What he did to get at his Christ consciousness, you need to get at your Christ consciousness. But if you're going to rely on the mind just to speak to you and that's it, then you're going to always be lost. These guys know the truth. They know. I'm not sure about the other leader. I'm not sure about Farrakhan. I know, but Elijah knows the truth. I know that. He know. Jesus knew the truth because he's the firstborn of the one that separated his consciousness from the body. He knew the truth and he learned the truth. And he learned some Egyptian knowledge as well too. A lot of us run from that. But when he said that Father prayer, he ended with amen, which is Egyptian, the origin. Amen. That's Egyptian. He went to Egypt. He learned some things. I rest my mic.
Okay, thank you, brother Jess. I'm trying my best to moderate things and let the panel do what they do. But I just gotta give some pushback here. Okay, here we are. We're talking about brother Jess. You said born in sin and shaped in iniquity, and you're coming out of the Bible with that. Am I correct?
Yeah, I come from that point of view.
Okay. Now, first of all, when it's in the Bible, and we know that the Bible has been tampered with, right? There's something that says it right there in the Bible. It says that this book has been translated and diligently compared and revised to the King James Standard, right? We know that it's written there. And so when you really think about that they're telling you, okay, you were born, or the way it's presented. You born in sin and you shaped in iniquity. Well, what sin was I born in?
I can
What?
answer that, brother.
Okay, real quickly, give it to me.
Okay, so we first have to understand what is sin.
Hmm.
So sin is when your consciousness is not with the inner person, it's not with your inner self or your subconscious. It's when you turn away from the creator. That's sin. So when you're born in sin, that means the world who dealing with worldly knowledge is in sin. They're not on the path of the creator. Now, when you decide to go on the path of the creator, which is inside you, right? Then your mind, your consciousness is shift out of sin. Now, when you're born in sin, they say shaping iniquity because those around you who are worldly is telling you go to school, do this, do this, do that. They shaping you in iniquity, which means your path would be in sin, which is away from the Creator. See, the Creator is not about this world. It's
Okay,
not
hold on, bro,
this
Jess.
world.
Just hold on 1 second. Okay, because we gotta get this thing right now. So this Bible stuff that you're talking about, right? Are you coming from the Psalms chapter 51? Is this where you're getting this from?
I don't see where in Psalm chapter 51 say what I just said. I don't see that.
No, where you talked about this born in sin and shaped in iniquity. Is that where you're getting it from? Psalms chapter 51.
No, I didn't. I didn't pick out a chapter. No.
Okay, but you said you got it from the Bible. So give me the where in the Bible, if it's not Psalms chapter 51, where in the Bible did you get this?
I didn't pick out a scripture in the Bible. I know it is a Bible
Okay,
quote in it. I didn't pick out the
right.
scripture.
Okay,
And what I'm
okay,
doing is
all
I'm
right.
taking.
Okay,
Listen,
stop. Hold on 1 second, because this is the problem that we have. We're quoting Bible and don't know what in the world we're actually quoting. So
okay.
what I'm going to do, I'm going to share screen, and we're going to go to that chapter in the Bible where you're talking about. Because again, because it was said and somebody taught you this, that don't mean that that's real. That don't mean that that even apply to you. But we're taking it and applying it, and I truly believe we're making an error. And this goes back to why Sister Gwen said, and Sister Gwen, you correct me if I'm wrong, why she said we got to have our own book. We have to have our own religion. We have to have our own way. Why? Because this cracker gave you this book. And now we going by this book, and we're applying it in a way that doesn't fit. And let me go ahead and share so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So here we are, Psalms chapter 51. Now, he's talking about himself. This is the chief musician, David. Okay, it says, wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity and cleanse me from my sin, for I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. My sin is ever before me. Against thee, thee only have I sinned, and done this evil in thy sight, that thou mightest be justified when thou speakest, and be clear when thou judge. Behold, I was shaped in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Okay? So I don't know his experience how his experience relates to you and me, to us, to say that we were born in sin and we were shaped in iniquity. I don't see that. Now we can say you were born in a sinful world, and in this sinful world you were shaped into that, right? We could say that.
That's what I said though.
No, that's not what you were, or at least that's not how I was getting it.
Okay, that's what I meant, brother. Since you didn't get it that way.
Okay, okay, perfect,
But I
perfect.
said we was born in sin. That means
Hmm.
the people mindset was away from the Creator.
Not
When
necessarily. When okay, look, the world, right? This cracker's world is a sinful world. So you're born into a sinful world. Not that you or your parents are sinful, but the environment that you were born into is sinful. Okay? Now, I've taught before that once you're born, and then you got different things that begin to shape you. You different things that begin to shape you. You go, your parents got you, then you get into school and you're learning new things, and then you matriculate through your schooling. Then once you graduate, now with the knowledge that you have, you begin to shape yourself, right?
Don't your
Because
consciousness create the environment?
does consciousness create the environment?
Correct, because that's what I'm speaking on.
Yeah, there's always a mind behind what you physically see.
But that's what I said, brother. I said the consciousness was away from the creator. So once you're away from the creator, you are in sin. And that's how the world becomes sinful. Because they not on the path of the creator. It's the consciousness.
Okay, let me put it like this so make sure we're on the same page. Okay. This world that we are in is the cracker's world, right? He made this world. So it's his world and it's a sinful world, right? So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Now, when you talk about the mind that's behind the physical what you see, and that mind behind the physical of what you see is the cracker's world, is that cracker mindset. And all those who have that kind of mindset, regardless of color, is doomed. And for us, we have to come up out of that. And that's why we have and we teach on separation. Not just a physical separation, but a mental and a spiritual separation. Right? Am I on the right side, Sister Gwen? Correct me when I go off the rails. Okay. So Brother Jess, my question to you is, are we saying the same thing or are you saying something different?
We're saying the same thing from when you talk about the mind dealing with the consciousness. What you're doing is that you're quantifying it to a person. That's what you're doing, right? Which is
Mm-hmm.
fine, because that's how you feel about it. I'm not quantifying it. I'm saying once the consciousness, whether it's in any race, is away from the creator, they are in sin. And that's the world we born in. And that sinful nature there. Because you're away from the creator. And you are shaped in iniquity. Like you say, going to school, stuff like that. I agree with that. We're saying the same thing, but I'm not quantifying it to an actual being. Because you got different races are in sin. That's to not want to be with the creator. And to me, once you not on the path of the creator, you insane. I get what you're saying, brother, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going directly to what it is. It's consciousness at the end of the day. The body just a vessel.
Okay. Okay. Let's bring Sister Gwen.
The question was, do we come from a place of religion or spirituality when we talk about uh, divine forces? I think of God. I want to say it a little bit differently. Mine is from spirituality as well as science and logic, not religion, nothing about religion. My view on religion is that I see all religions as equals, no matter how big the population. If we were talking about population and which one is more popular among mankind, then Christianity wouldn't win because the Hindus and the Buddhists would win. And although Buddhists would tell you that they have a philosophy versus a religion, but but we don't populate the people of India or China, and they have different religions. I see the world's religions as equals. The Native Americans, the African spiritualities, and spirits of the land type religion, that is where they have a sacred belief in a tree or a concept like a tree and things like that, or even a sacred place that they go to reflect and worship. Most religions have a similar creation story, except they're using slightly different words. Like the Greek myth says, the reality came from a place of chaos, and Christianity says it came from a place of darkness, I believe. And then they started talking about Genesis and all the things. But each religion says similar stuff because they're coming from the minds of men or mankind. But the truth is, until a divine being comes here and walks on the earth and makes a loud announcement, said, I did it all, it's mine, I did it, and we all see him at the same time in the same way, then everything we're doing is speculation. Everything, every word is pure speculation. This is us thinking and making logical conclusions based on what we can see and hear and think. But it's speculation. Nothing has come down here and made an announcement for everybody to see and hear at the same time. Nor has anybody said that they saw him in most religions. So I think of religions as all equals. I don't think anything. I don't believe any one of them is better than the other, or even less good or more good than the other. Now, for logic and science, I do reflect on this, and I've been thinking about this stuff since about 1973. So I've been looking at it a long time, and I think I had my first religious talk with friends and relatives, well, friends, about in 1973. That's why I remember having my first conversation. And the reason why I call it logic is because I look at life, living beings. And the thing is that life itself isn't logical. It is not logical. There's nothing logical about the thing that's inside of us that's making us alive and conscious versus an inert piece of meat. There's something living there that's making us here, right? That is not a logical thing. That is not logical. It doesn't make sense. It has no reason to be here, but it's here. And so, if you ever heard of somebody who worked in trauma units and things like that, and they talk about seeing life leave somebody's eyes or see the life leave, what is that? What left? So that's the thing that's not logical and that has no reason to be here. So that's what I call science because something left and just like you were born, something came in. When you leave, something is left and it left your body and people can see it. I once had when I was about 11, I had a dog that died in my arms. And I remember, and the dog couldn't move because it had got hit, I think, by a car. And only thing that was there was just a little piece of blood out his mouth. He couldn't even lick out his tongue, but we knew it was alive. The whole family, all of us knew it was alive. And then I was watching him when he died. I could see him dying, and he couldn't even move his body. But something left, just like something was there before he left, and he couldn't move. So I know there's a difference between life and death, and we can see it. So that's what I call not logical. Now, for that to be there has to be some kind of will from something outside of ourselves. This whole universe has to be something that willed it because there's no reason for it to be here. There is no reason for existence to exist. Think about it. Think about it big. Think about the big scale. There is no reason for the solar systems, the galaxies, the whole universe to even exist in the first place. There is nothing logical about existence. It shouldn't be here. It is more logical for it not to exist at all. But it does exist. And that's why I say there is a great will that willed itself, that decided that this should exist. It willed itself into existence. And here we are. That's what I call science. Now, and I do believe that it cares about us. I believe that there are gods and different levels of gods. I do agree that the black man is God, but we are a small God. I believe that the black woman is God, but I also believe that the scarab, which is a dung beetle in Egypt, is also God. And a lot of religions say that they see the spirits of the land and spirits of the land religion, which is one I'm most closely to believing, if I were to say a religion, would be an aspect of God. or aspect of creation. By God, I mean creative force or divine force or the divine force of creation. I see that as the force that makes things grow, that makes things alive. The divine force of creation works hand in hand with the divine force of destruction because for life to exist, especially on this planet, something has got to die for you to live. Something has got to die for you to live because you eat food, you eat a plant or an animal, but it has to die to be reconstructed into you. And that's from the microscopic level to the highest level, to the largest animal to the smallest animal. The most potent divine force on this planet is going to sound weird for me to say, but is a thunderstorm. That's the closest thing I can see that's got a divine life. Um, is a thunderstorm because it has the neutrons and protons that connect and it comes down on Earth and spark electricity. And that's a creative force. And we don't think about it like that, but that is. So this is a planet that makes life and death at the same time. My thing is that as we are in this struggle, that the divine force of destruction is fighting very hard to destroy us all, and it is implanting itself into human beings to do dirty work for it to destroy. I do believe that there's a force that is glad when destruction happens. And when that force gets out of hand, it can overcome all of creation and destroy it all. And that's why we're in a battle when I say spiritual battle or divine battle of good and evil. When we say good, I'm talking, or rather, when I say good, I'm talking about all the things that make creation happen and work. Um, and I want to call good as objective good. And that is objectively speaking that if a human being is doing things destroying itself, then that's bad. But if a human being is doing something that's willful and beneficial, then that's good. And that's what I call good and bad, or good and evil. What's moral is not necessarily legal, and what's legal is not necessarily moral. We've already talked about that. And so good is about building and making things work. And right now, in our spot, in this one little spot, in this one little body, or this one little race, we need to be focusing on how to fulfill our biological mandate and purpose as granted to us by the creative force, which is to maintain our well being and forward motion as beings and people and going forward with our lives as best we can. And that is the crux of it, is that how we have to get away from the people who work for our destruction and destruction in general, and then build and go forward as a bunch of people moving forward with existence and our lineage as our purpose as biological beings in this plane and in this world right now. And that's it. That's all. Did I answer everything?
Yes, ma'am, you did. I want to go back to the one point that you made. Well, 2 points. One point on a new book and why it's necessary. One of the reasons why it's necessary to have a new book. The Bible and the Quran. Neither of those books takes you beyond the judgment of this world, right? So there's a new book that's coming. So with that new book that's coming, I believe, just as you believe, that we are to write this book. We are to write this book. This is a new way of being. This is a new way of life. And then also you talked about the spark that leaves the body when they're dying. Do you think I would think that that's their spirit leaving their body? Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me. Their life force. Oh,
Mhm.
let me take a drink. Their life force, their divine life force, our life, that thing, that life. And that's why I keep saying it's not logical because there's nothing logical about a life thing. Where did that come from? Who put it there? But it's there. And that's what leaves.
Could I say something on that, brother?
Yes, sir. Real quick.
Yeah. All right. So that life force is for a reason, and it's just not there just to be there. It's there to gain experience. So the life force is actually from the creator, and the creator fragmented itself into different bodies. So everybody life force is going to return back to the creator. Everybody life force is going to turn back to the creator so that we could gain experience. And you will see where I myself have seen a light being in the sky at a young age with my own two eyes and had a vision of it. And there's one who had recorded this light being that I saw as well. And I actually have a video of it. If I could share this video so y'all guys can see it too. Whether we do it now, do it later on. Because these stuff are real. These ain't just something that people just say. It's being recorded as well too. The problem is the spectrum of light, sometimes we can't see it, but it's there. It's just perhaps that this one probably allow itself to be recorded because it is on the video from a home video from a pastor, a local pastor in Florida, saw that his motion light was turned on, and he said it in the video, and you actually could see it. And I know he's correct because I've seen it myself. I just was blessed to see. I didn't know what it was, but I did some research and later on learned what it was. But these things are there and they are constantly around us, but we don't know it's there. But we have to, again, we have to deny. That's why, and I want to go, in the Bible, it sounds, the spiritual words, but you have to deny yourself in the sense of you got to let the creator take control so you can see these things and know these things. You got to be in a knowing moment. So everything is there for a reason. There's no pop up. Doesn't work like that. It's always a reason. And because we don't know it, we say these things. And I think it's hindrance to people when we say, oh, it may not be logical. We need to say, I don't know. So to allow another being or another living soul, because the being ain't living, hopefully becomes a living soul, or the living soul to go forward and search and be able to allow people to know what it is, than to hinder people consciousness by that type of talk. I rest my mic.
Thank you, brother Jess.
I
If you
still,
want to
I
show the
still,
video, you can.
I,
Go ahead, Sister Gwen.
I still have my same point of view, and I did consider his arguments long before I came to my conclusions. I think about 40 years ago or so, I thought about that, what he just spoke of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I came to my conclusions and I still hold them. And I still say everything that I just said still stands.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Sister Gwen.
Mhm.
Uh, Brother Omar, come on, jump in here. What's your take on what was said?
Um, I'm really excited. I am really because it just goes to show how little we know, and at the same time, it shows how big we can grow. You know, I remember, and this getting to your question that you had asked us about when I was a member of the Nation of Islam. As a matter of fact, I'm still a member of the Nation of Islam, uh, and my consciousness of awareness evolved to more toward what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad always guided us to, and that was to better studying and understanding the Holy Quran. I never called myself a Sunni Muslim, an Orthodox Muslim. Uh, but I did endeavor to study the Quran. People would approach me, being that they knew that I was no longer actively involved in the Nation of Islam. Well, let me put it this way, that being that I wasn't actively involved in following Minister Farrakhan, uh, they said, well, why don't you just condemn it? Since you have went beyond that, why don't you condemn it? And my answer to them was this: why would I condemn crawling now that I'm able to walk and run? And we have a tendency in our aspiring to grow to higher levels of understanding. We have a tendency to want to condemn our path that we have come through. And I could no more condemn the Nation of Islam than I can condemn crawling. Crawling was necessary for the toddler in the toddler state. And then it reaches a point where it no longer have to crawl. It can now walk and possibly run. But that don't make crawling bad. So to answer your question, where am I coming from in terms of religion or spirituality? I have the same explanation. Religion, organized religion, was very useful to me in my evolutionary path. So I can't condemn it. Spirituality, what we consider it, spirituality, is very useful. I used to tell when I did a whole lot more talking as an imam than I do now. I used to say to the congregation, and I spoke to many that I spoke with, I would say I would hope that a Christian could look at me and the way that I live my life and see a good Christian. I would hope that a Jewish person could look at me and see a good Jew. I would hope that a Muslim could look at me and see a good Muslim. For I have endeavored in all of those paths. So I think we have to get out of the mindset of condemning, because all it needs is a better interpretation. Whether it's Christianity, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I agreed with him, and I agree with him. He said that the Bible is the graveyard of our people. What did he mean by that? He meant that you have two terms. You have interpretation, but there's another I word, and that word is interpolation. And the Bible acknowledges that book was both interpreted and interpolated. So interpretation is translating from one language to another. Interpolation is changing what is there to suit what you want. So, sure, there's much in the Bible that has been interpolated, that has been changed, and it was changed for a specific reason. I would go on to say that there is much in the Talmud, that there is much in the English translation of Quran that has been interpolated. That means that someone put in there something to fit a certain agenda. And we, being armed with this knowledge, have to do due diligence. It is incumbent, if I'm going to follow the Bible, I have to learn the original language that the book was written from, to make sure that it has not been changed. And believe me, being a student of somewhat a student of language, I'm telling you, it is impossible to translate clear cut from one language to another. So that means that we're going to have to do what Sister Gwen was talking about earlier. We're going to have to guess to the best of our ability, because a lot of people that translate from those languages, they may be proficient in Hebrew or Arabic, but they're poor in English. So therefore, they can't translate properly. But hopefully they do the best that they can do. So yes, I would hope that these people will look at me and the way that I live my life, not what I say, but how I live my life, and in that they can see the decency that is in Christianity, that they can see the decency that is in Judaism, they can see the decency that is in the Islamic religion. I've also studied the Hindu text, the Bhagavad Gita. I've also studied the wise men traveling from the East. I'm a student of comparative religion. I have also studied African spirituality. And I'm telling you, even they have made serious mistakes. Why? Because who speaks fluently the language of hieroglyphics? That's the African, that's the original African language. And I don't even like using that damn word African, because that ain't what the people call themselves. That's what the Europeans called them, who conquered Africa. That's why I'm saying, when I spoke today, is that we have to sit down, study us, and come up with a suiting, qualified name that describes where we are, where we've been, and where we want to go. Give ourselves a name. To be quite honest with you, I am not interested in trying to explain God, Allah, to nobody. I could give a fuck if you know. Because it is beyond our reach. I think we waste our time trying to study God when there's so much more that we can do right now. Believe me, God, if there is a God, will take care of itself. Don't need us. In Quran, it says that we human beings will put our sole purpose for being in this plane on this earth is to grow. Zakat. The Arabic word for growth is zakat. That is what we were put here for, to grow. What is the necessity of our growing? So that we can add to the collective consciousness, the collective humanity, the collective universe. But if we are not about growing, and understand this here, is that we have just humanity, we have just within the past 100, 200 years tops, not quite two, but began to get into going into the intricate studies of nature, and we have found that there is more to this that we call nature than what meets the eye. Just think how much more is into our own inward self. We have to create another term other than quantum mechanics. Because the deeper that we go, the bigger we see that this thing that we call creation is. Our hands are full just studying this. Why waste our time on studying God? Because you know what's going to happen? In studying this, you're going to find God. You're going to open yourself up. You're going to open yourself up to an existence that you couldn't even fathom existed before. Yes. It is a wonderful endeavor to get into studying you. Learn all there is to learn about you so that you can evolve and add to the collective whatever it is. How useful are we? If we are not useful, what are we? We have wasted this trip. I believe that we are, as human beings, I believe that we are, for lack of a better word, immortal beings having a mortal experience. And that experience is to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. Wiser and wiser and wiser. But the only way we're going to embark upon wisdom is to get understanding. And you're gonna and trust me, we won't be able to scratch the surface of understanding as long as we are limiting ourselves to some small little way of looking at life. The possibilities are endless, but it starts within. In the Quran, it says that the best struggle, Jihad is inward. And you're absolutely right. I used to also tell my audience this. I said, hey, look, if every book on this planet were destroyed, were burnt up, as long as creation here, we have a mother book that we can study. And that will bring us closer to that which we call God than any freaking book ever written. I'm trying to cut down on my cursing, reflect my holiness. Oh, that's another joke. It ain't about being holy. You want to be holy, leave this existence. Go on. In this world here, forget holiness. How useful can you be? That's one thing that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us. Someone was talking to him about the white man taking America from the Indians. You know what his reply to that were? They wasn't doing nothing with it. You know, at least the white man came here. He may have used slaves to do it, but he came in and got busy and made usefulness of it. So what I suggest that we do is find a way to make usefulness, to make ourselves useful. Because if we ever want to evolve as indigenous ex-slaves and become a part, and if not greater than this humanity, that's what we're supposed to be, we've got to make ourselves useful. I rest my mic. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, sir. You did. You did.
Thank you, Karen.
But I do want to ask this because we are to, I know Allah says in the Quran that we study creation. And in studying creation, we're going to learn more about ourselves. Um, I think it's crucial at this point that we're in that our people understand that the white man will never give you a true give you the true God. They'll never do that. They'll never do that. And our people are looking for God. They really are. You know, I mean, when we just think about it, Christianity, this is a religion based off the death of a man, right? Supposedly God's man, but yet God let him so called die on the cross, right? Then Peter, look how they did to him. Paul, look how they killed the disciples. But yet they supposed to be on, God's side. And they got wiped out by the enemy. And you're taught to be this way. And this is one of the reasons why I believe the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Christianity is the perfect slave making religion, right? So there's no way with our full understanding, there's no way in the world that we should be, lining up to become Christians. There's no way. Now I got, you know, everybody in my family besides me and my children, they're in that Christianity vein. Um, but honestly, thinking there's no way in the world because me and wife was having a conversation um, a few weeks back, and I asked her, "Well, how did Paul die? how did Peter die? How did these people die? I want to know what happened to them. If their main man went out on the cross, what happened to them? And come find out Paul had his head chopped off and all that. And it's like, what? And you gonna follow that? Ain't no way in the world. Because if that God couldn't save his own man and his men that's supposedly doing his will, shit, he can't save us. He can't save us. He ain't saved Dr. King. He ain't saved none of them that come along in that vein. He ain't saved not one of them. So obvious to me, there's a problem in that vein. And I don't want a goddamn thing to do with it. Because I really believe that it is no good. It is truly no good. But Brother Omar, as a imam and teaching religion, because a question was asked to me, does Black First go along with Islam? And of course, my answer was no, it does not. Not the Arab world, it doesn't go nowhere near that. It's closer to the Nation of Islam, but in reality, it doesn't, because as B1, I don't care about nobody else. I care only about Black. All right. Now, when I look at the Arab, I don't see a friend. I see an enemy. When I look at the Chinese, I don't see a friend. I see an enemy. And when I look at the Indian, I don't see a friend. I see an enemy. I teach our people that our friends is ourselves. We have to be the friend of each other, because there's nobody out there that's trying to be our friend. We have to be the friend of each other. Now, our brother Operation Exodus, Mississippi, where his thing differ from mine, he actually cares about humanity. He actually cares about humanity, and I applaud him for that. I don't care about humanity. I only care about our people. And some may say that, I shouldn't be that way, but that's how I am, because I understand the needs of our people. And so, when they first start putting these illegal immigrants' children in cages, and somebody had the nerve to write me and ask me to speak on behalf of the immigrant. I said, hell no. I'm not speaking on behalf of them. My people suffering. Look here, you left your own country. You sent your children by themselves or with somebody else to illegally to another country. And you expect me to open my mouth to cry for you, to put on a cape for you, and my people that's been here is suffering? I ain't got time. Because when we suffer, you ain't got time. You ain't got time for us. That ain't your issue. So no, I'm not going to cape for no other people. I'm going to deal with my own people. Period, point blank. I'm going to deal with my own, because our own needs loyalty. Needs loyalty. We deserve loyalty, because we've been sold out so many damn times. We've been lied to so many damn times. And everybody else is getting, going out and doing what they need to get done. But us, we still like the permanent underclass when we are the actual originators of everything. But we're consistently shit on. And so my thing is, it's time for us to flush the toilet, and the hell with them. We got to deal with ourselves. We got to focus internally and internally only. So if they can have a truckload of cracker babies die, I wouldn't give a damn. I wouldn't care. They can have a truckload of Chinese babies die. I wouldn't give a damn. I wouldn't give a care. Because we die every day. We die every day. If, and my question to you, Brother Omar, and I know you can't really, give me a definitive answer, but when I die and I go to meet the Maker, what do you think he would say?
Number one, might I suggest with my limited understanding, you did what you came here to do. See, I believe that we all came here with a mission, a path that we were to walk. I believe that before our coming here into this existence, I believe that we were able to see the path of the body that we chose. However, with our emergence into this realm, I believe that we endured a type of amnesia. So I believe that you, Brother Muhammad, I believe that me, I believe Sister Gwen, Brother Isaiah, Brother Just Us, I believe that we are doing what we came here to do. Now I also, now I'm going to go from belief to saying I know. I know that we don't have to lose our humanity in order to help the indigenous ex-slaves out of the situation that we are in. We don't have to, and we should not lose our humanity. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean this. There is nothing wrong with, if you're on a plane, the mask drop, there's nothing wrong with putting the mask on you first. As a matter of fact, every airline encourages it. Why do they encourage it? Because that's intelligent. Because you can't help anybody else until you help yourself first. So black people, so-called black people, God, I wish we come up with a name. We have to help ourselves first. That's where we've made our mistake in the past. Is that we have rushed to help others to the detriment of ourselves. Because we didn't put that mask on ourselves first, we were trying to put the mask on somebody else, we died. So I'm saying to you, we don't have to lose our humanity. That I don't have to become callous if someone from another race fall ill. I don't have to do that. But am I going to neglect my people? No, never in 1,000 years. Because I'm not stupid. I know that we have to take care of us, and we have to take care of us first. But all I'm saying to you, don't lose your humanity in wanting to help black people. Because you can do them both. We're bigger than that. We don't have to. We don't have to say I don't care about a Chinese, about a Hispanic, but I can say I was watching Roland Martin show the other day, right? And he was questioning one of our conservative brothers, and Roland was pushing voting. The black man has got to vote. The black man has got to vote. And this brother, one of the most intelligent young men I've heard thus far, he said to Roland, uh, hey, voting is right. We need to vote. But that's not my fight right now. My fight right now, not me, I'm talking about the brother speaking. He said his fight right now is building schools and things for black people. Doing for self. Employing the wisdom that was given by Elijah Muhammad. To do, I'm doing for self. He said, however, I leave the voting issue into your capable hands because we're big enough to deal with it all. We don't have to put our all into any one thing because that is going to be a slow journey. We have to look at what we have and say, okay, hey, brother Roland, hey, look, you're good at this political thing. Hey, because we're gonna need politics. Hey, you fight that fight. Okay, I'm gonna get a group of people and I'm gonna build schools. I'm gonna get a group of people and I'm gonna tackle the movie industry. I'm gonna get a group of people and I'm gonna tackle the music industry. I'm gonna get a group of people. I'm going to attack the sports industry. And then once we have all of those industries in place, now we say, hey, black people, support each one of these industries because you're doing it anyway, but just support it through us. And at the same time, here's another little tidbit. Another little tidbit is that, hey, look, we have to, in this world that we're living in now, man, we have to establish treaties with every damn body. What do I mean by that? Quid quo pro. I do for you, you do for me. It's a reciprocal relationship, a treaty. Establish that and work with the Hispanic people, but you don't go and give your whole society to the Hispanic people or to the Chinese people. No. We look and say, okay, what is it that the Chinese have that we need? Okay, hey, look, China is producing solar. So, okay, Why don't we establish a treaty with them to take the soil? Because no matter where we go, we're going to need lights. So we established that treaty with them to get what they have. We look at the other so-called minority people and see what is it that they have to offer. And then we establish a treaty with them. We find out what it is that we have to offer them. But we ain't gonna help nobody to our detriment. It's gonna be a quick pro. Hey, I'll help you. You gotta have something to give me. If you don't got anything to give me, I can't help you right now. I'm sorry. We'll have to put you under the charity thing. That's how you. This is how you build a nation. You cannot build a nation out on an island by yourself. Trust me on that. We have to look at. We have to say, okay, how can I make best use of my time, of my energy? How can I become more useful to black people? And that is by going out there, finding who is it that have what we need, and work out a treaty with them to get that for the black people. So what I'm saying, you don't have to lose your humanity to help us. Because our strength, trust me, is in our humanity. Our strength is the fact that we will never allow ourselves to fall to the level of these caving ass white people. They didn't give a fuck about nobody else. All they wanted to do was to go out there and just take over every goddamn body. We ain't gonna ever let ourselves fall to that level. But at the same time, we're going to take care of us first. We are number one priority. You're a beautiful human being. Don't let bitterness destroy you, because believe me, that is the exact thing that happens to people who have been abused. They then some kind of way, if they give in to the bitterness, they become abusers. We ain't gonna ever. We should never ever allow that to be, because you know what's gonna happen. Once you sit into abusing, you're not gonna give a goddamn who you abuse. You'll abuse your own people. It's out of your control once you give into it. I rest the mic.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Omar. Um, we got Brother Exodus, Mississippi, Operation Mississippi. Brother Talik has joined us. Hold on, Brother Talik. We have Brother Jess wants to show something real quick. And then hold on, Brother Isaiah. We're going to let Brother Jess share what he got. Then we'll go to you, Brother Isaiah. Then we go to Angel Snub Nose number 7. Go ahead, Brother Jess.
All right, so I gotta look for this thing because I was so in tune with what Brother Omar was saying because he on point, and I can tell you, Brother Omar, as powerful I was, I went over some heads. I'm not talking about the panel. I'm just speaking in general because it's all about consciousness. And Brother Omar may say he believe in little he know. I ain't into that little I know thing. He's speaking what is true. So I'm not sure. I think you probably got to share it for me, Brother Maurice, because I put it up, but it ain't showing. All right, so y'all guys can answer, make y'all can see it. I mean, I'm seeing it. You can see it. Okay, so you have on the left side here, well, how my screen is looking. Hopefully, the same thing with y'all guys. You got the brain cells. Then you got on the right side the universe. And if you can see, it's very similar. So we will say we are in the mind of the creator. And Jesus said himself, he never said that he's in the he never said the creator is in him first. He said he's in the creator first, and then the creator is in him. So we always are in the creator because we are aspects of the creator. And the goal is to allow the creator to be in us in a way that we are aware of the creator. We are one with the creator, meaning we are one with the thoughts and the movements of the creator. So this is what this here I'm showing will be displaying, is that we are literally in the mind of the creator. Whether a person may say it or not, but as life go on, and the brother say, you should always look within self and try to develop and keep growing. And once you become a part of that consciousness, it's like you have a computer system, you become a part of the program. Then you're able to move and gain access that you never had before, being dead. And again, I'm going to really say much, man. I respect what the brother said about we don't have to lose our humanity. That is correct. You still have a physical body. You still here, but there's consciousness out there that is against us and it's not a part of this universe. When I say universe, I'm talking about not a part of the creator. And they're going to do some things that we're going to deem as evil for those who are awakened souls or those who are living souls. Not all of us are living souls. Not all of us. Not all of us are living souls. But there are some of us who are living souls. And we're going to look at the deeds what the people do. So we literally are in the mind of the creator. Literally. And our mind also should be as the creator mind as well. That's what I want to show in that. Probably when I show the other thing with the orb is an orb shaped thing. But let's let conversation going with y'all guys.
Brother Jess, do you have that ready to show?
I couldn't say it was breaking up, brother. Say it again.
I said, do you have that ready to show?
Oh, with the orb. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Let me say it. Hold on. Let me say share that. I'm gonna pull it up right now. So you probably gonna have to share it again when okay. All right. I think it should be up now, but I think you have to share it again. Okay, so let me go there. I put it up, hit play.
In Pyeongchang, South Korea, there's a peace forum on a mission to change the world by using sports to build bridges over international borders. Can sports build bonds that break down barriers? Watch More in Common with Michael Koenigs on localish.com.
The first thing I'm thinking, like, whoa, what is this?
Pastor Monzel Ford says as he was sleeping one night last week, his home surveillance camera motion detector kept going off. So from bed, he pulled out his phone and looked at the living room.
This orb, this imagery just hovering in my living room.
No one else was there. It wasn't a flashlight or passing headlights. And Pastor Ford thinks it was too big to be a dust particle. He walked into the living room watching the live feed on his phone.
But when I went out there, I couldn't physically see what I'm looking at in the live feed. So now I'm like, whoa.
The orb came and went for hours, at one point splitting into several shapes.
That's when I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Something's going on here. Something's going on here.
Pastor Ford has been haunted by some of the things he's seen as police chaplain and while working his own street ministry. But nothing has spooked him quite like this.
If it's physical, I can stand it, I can challenge it, I can approach it, I can deal with it. But when we talk about things that just floating and disappearing.
This man of faith says the odd occurrence has certainly led to a lot of spirited debate. But so far, he has no certain explanation.
If I know what something is, I'm okay. But it's the unknown thing that throws me off.
We asked Pastor Ford if he and his family are comfortable staying in their house with all this going on. He says they're certainly not about to give up their house. However, they're more than willing to give up the ghost. In Volusia County, Claire Metz, West 2 News.
Let's end that there.
So what are you saying that was, Brother Jess? Are you saying that was what?
What I'm saying is that there's light beings out there. But to me, that would be more of a you may be familiar with this word, the macabre body, where you could travel. You see how it splits up, right?
Right.
Right. Where you could be able to travel into different dimensions, they call it. So when I study, they call it the macabre body. Right. So one was a vision I had where I saw light being, and one was a physical reality where I saw the being, but it was way bigger than that. It was huge, and I didn't know what it was because I was 17. I didn't know what it was, and it just shoot off, and then I used to see them like in the nighttime as well, like three. Find out again. I don't know because I was young. I didn't know, but as I got older and I got more in tune with self and started studying, I said, "Well, did other people experience this stuff?" And then I start learning this is not a personal thing. Other people has experienced it. And then I ran across that video. I say, whoa, so this thing is caught on camera. This is not just I see those in my head. I didn't know, I think it was in my head. But people will say that if you don't have some type of evidence. But that guy was fortunate enough to get that actually hovered in camera. And there's energy beings that is around us constantly. Some of us can't feel it. Some of us do feel it. And that's why I say, Brother Omar knows something. I listen to this man and I see his soul. He knows something. Him putting it on, oh, I'm just humble. No, he's more than that. He knows something. I know he knows because I know something. And you can tell when the man knows something. So there's things out there that I agree, Sister Glenn B would say, beyond our comprehension. That is true, but they're there for a reason. But the only way to know these things is to go within self. And when I say no, it don't mean you know. It means they reveal it. That's what Kabbalah means, to be in a position to receive. And if you're not in the receiving position, you're not going to get the information. You're just going to think you know it all, and you're only going to give information, which you really don't know nothing.
Okay. All right. Um, I'm gonna go around and then I'm gonna come back to that because I want to get everybody's feeling on what you just saw. What do you think that was? Um, but go ahead, brother Isaiah. You got some comments?
Yeah, there's a lot of good information I heard. I'm gonna address the thing that really spoke to me,
Mm-hmm.
and to throw a little bit of light on this so-called orb that was floating. Just to say that Amazing Randy would have a ball with that. I don't believe that was real. That's just my perspective. But based on what Brother Omar was talking about, man, uh, yeah, you hit it on the head. And all of that getting, you get understanding. You can study the Bible from front to back, know every character who did what, when, where, why, and how, and the essence of what Jesus is. And some people say Jesus is nothing but the sun, as an sun, because you see it every day. Some people say that the 12 zodiac signs are the 12 disciples. You know what I mean? So there's a deeper aspect of our ancestors' way of looking at this world we live in that give it more credibility, to give it more credence, to give it more meaning, that allows us, from those who are, as our brother Omar said, who are crawling, who are running, and who are really flying through this world that we live in. So, with all that being said, I can really only say this: is that each and every one of us is here is on a journey. Sometimes that journey is interrupted through alcohol and drugs and over sex or any other seven deadly sins, and it derails our sense of humanity, gives us the lower self more important than the higher self. And the higher self is nothing hard to understand. It's the virtue, integrity, frugality, resoluteness, and so on and so forth, and kindness. And, as far as I'm concerned, I've been a Jew all my life, and I've gone over to, and looked at and studied Islam and studied Buddhism and studied all. But you know what? All of that comes back to our ancestors' way of thinking. Every religious philosophy or way of life is basically boiled down to the Maionic philosophy. And if I can just interject my thoughts about it, is that each and every one of us here is truly on a journey to find out what happiness means. And as far as I am concerned, happiness means doing the thing or things in your life that give you meaning, purpose, sense of direction, and fulfillment. Now, just because I might be a scientist, or I might be a doctor, I might be a lawyer, that doesn't mean everybody want to be that. But you have to do what makes you feel good about you first. Because when you can conquer yourself first, everything else is conquerable. It's really easy. Um, but the overall gist of what this whole religious thing is, I believe every religion has a platform. You know what I mean? Has a path for you to take. Now, it's not a cookie cutter, but you have to take what is ringing into your heart, soul, and mind that is true to you. Because the God of Isaiah, that's not the God of Muhammad, the God of Gwen, the God of Brother Omar. It's the God of me. And I am true to that God. And I am true to what is doing what is right, what is just, what is true. I don't suffer many ass whoopings from my past. Telling me, boy, if you don't do right, wrong will follow all the days of your life. Now, which way do you want to go? I want to do the right thing. And I've learned that through life experience because if you can truly embody the very essence of what God is in terms of being a holy being, WHOLLY, then in the eyes of your fellow man, you become holy in their eyes. And you don't want to be another Jim Jones. You don't want to be another, people who think that, oh man, that's God or that's Jesus. No, it's all about the embodiment and the principle. Because as far as I am concerned, being a Jew is one thing. But how can I relate that to other people to allow them to see it better? You feel what I'm saying? And to know that, how did it go? That each and every one of us has a path to make. That it is a way of life, Judaism or Islam, that helps you find the way of life for you. And my way of life? it might not be the same as Brother Omar or Brother Muhammad Gwen or just us or Andrew Nutler. So, but the bottom line is the foundation is, you know what I mean? We can understand the difference between right and wrong. We know what that is. We can understand the difference between tuning into your intuitive nature, that is the godliness of you, that's telling you what is and what is not right. So we have those fundamental elements that ring true through everyone. We know not to steal. We know not to kill unless you are in danger. You know what I mean? We know not to lie, because if you lie, you'll be known as a liar, and that's a very bad thing. So the bottom line of it is, how do we find our niche? How do we find our connections that allow us to be connected to the greater flow and good of humanity, the summum bonum? And how can we manifest things that we not only want personally after we get that, but how can we, as an individual and collectively as a body of people, as a civilization, to make this world a better place before we leave it? So the understanding is really simple. And all of that get understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, so that that wisdom can be teleported into the future, whether through by speech, whether through by written word, or whether it's through by whatever tape that you may leave behind that will allow people to see it. Because everybody that sees this right now, just us and Brother Omar and everybody, they're coming in at different levels of understanding. We have to be open to that. We have to understand from which angle they're coming from. A lot of people have been abused, you know what I mean, physically, mentally, so on and so forth. A lot of people don't read; they prefer to hear. So, where is the fine line? Where can we find that connection? That on this journey that we have as our lives collide in a positive, in most positive of ways, can allow us to be an instrument of change, so that other people can change and become better. They can go from not for what from how does the baby go? From waddle not waddling, from laying in a crib to practically standing up to practically crawling to walking. So there are different levels of this understanding that we have to be um, aware of, that when we are talking, that we can truly hit the bullseye of where we want to be in the minds and hearts of other people. Because to be honest with you, I'm just now, not to get off track, but I'm just now looking at on Facebook, one of our great boxers is in the hospital, um, about to die. I can't think of his name. I think I put it on your messenger, Brother Muhammad. And this is what goes back to where it is impossible, where it is plausible, where it is possible, where ignorance has killed more folks than all the drugs and everything else. The man took the vaccine. The vaccine is not a vaccine. And so, the lack of knowledge and understanding and wisdom, and going by what other folks say, and everybody operating off of fear, has brought this man's life to a virtual end. And to wrap it all up, I truly believe that ignorance has killed our people. And the old thing going, you might want to help me out with this, Brother Omar, anybody, is that a tree without roots is dead, right? And that a village that does not support its own will find somebody burning it down to fill its warmth, its love, its compassion. And I yield back.
Brother Isaiah, why you say that the video is not authentic?
No, I'm not saying. I mean, if you believe in look, I don't believe in aliens. Until I see a motherfucking alien, I ain't gonna believe that bullshit.
Who
All
says
right?
alien?
No. I'm just saying. No, listen to what I'm saying. That's one thing. You know, I'll put it like this. You might not believe it, but it was my personal experience. My mother was there. On the Dan Ryan runs north and south, right? We were going back north. I'm sorry, we were going back south to see my grandmother. I bowed my head and I said, God, prove to me that you exist. In that right? Instant, it started to rain heavily on the northbound side, and it was bright in the motherfucker on the southbound side. It was stunning. Now, does that mean I'm crazy? No, because that actually happened.
All right,
All right.
brother.
No, I'm going to get to what you're talking about. What
Okay.
I'm saying is that Amazing Randy had a $10,000 check in his pocket. Ain't nobody claimed that shit. All I'm saying is that it might be, but to me, I don't believe that shit. You know what I mean? It just depends on what you want to do. How
I
you want to be.
understand. I'm asking why, brother. And the question is
Mhm.
why you don't believe it. I'm not saying you believe it.
No, I believe because it ain't happened to me. It happened to that dude. You know what I mean? There are a lot of people who come on shows and talk about I was raped by aliens. Hell, I like to be with a purple woman. Man, the
So,
shit is ridiculous. The shit is ridiculous to me.
so,
I just don't believe it.
so I hear you. I hear about feedback. Okay, I hear you say a lot of scriptures like you believe in the Bible.
In what way do you? You know, it depends. You know, no. The Bible, all of the things in the Bible were mythologies.
Okay.
They didn't actually happen. There ain't no damn way that a man can be swallowed up by a whale, live in that motherfucker for 7 days, come out and start preaching.
You believe in
What that
Jesus?
Look at what I'm saying. What that means is that you are swallowed up by the life experiences, and that once you become out of that well of life, those mishaps, those trials and tribulations, you become a stronger person.
You,
So when you're looking at the Bible, ain't no way in the world. Cause if you look at Gilgamesh,
I understand, brother.
no,
I
yeah,
get the
go ahead, go
point.
ahead, go ahead, go
Do you
ahead.
believe in life after death?
Do you believe in death before life?
Do you believe
I
in
mean,
life after death?
I ain't died yet. I can't say. No, let me put it this way. When my uncle died, like years ago, my grandmother died thereafter. I asked him, come back and send me a sign. Send me some kind of sign that there's a life. I ain't heard shit yet. You know, I don't know. But then again, there are many, many, many universes. So maybe and perhaps the spirit of Moses
How you know
does
there's
come back.
many
No, no,
universes?
no. Because that's what science says.
No,
That's
I'm
what
asking
brother
you.
brother.
How you know
No, no.
that?
Because I can look up into the sky and based upon what I've known and studied, there
Did,
is. There's
did
more
you
than one
see it?
universe. There's more
You
than
saw the many
one
ones?
galaxy. There's more than one galaxy,
No.
bro.
Did you see the many universe? Because you say you got to see these stuff. Did you saw that?
As above, so below. As within, so without. You know what I
Brother,
mean?
I asked you,
I
did
can
you
no.
saw?
I'm going by what our ancestors have taught and what they have known that has been brought down through the ages. Yes, there are more than one universe, and yes,
Did you
there's more than
see
one
it,
galaxy.
brother? That's the question. Did you see
I'm not.
these
I'm not.
many
I
universes?
don't know. I'm
So
gonna be
why you
honest.
believe?
No.
Okay, wait a minute. You said
Okay.
earlier, if you
Yeah.
don't see it, you don't believe it. So why you
Well,
are
that's a good
hypocrite,
analogy,
brother?
but just because I don't see air doesn't mean it doesn't
No,
exist. I breathe that
brother, I
motherfucker
didn't
all the
ask
time.
about air. I asked about universe.
No, no,
You
but
said,
it's the same principle. Can you
no,
see
brother,
air?
I'm not
Can you
asking about
see air?
air.
No, can you see air?
Brother, I'm not asking about
But
air.
can
You
it's the
mentioned
same
universe.
principle. It's the
Brother,
same
I'm
principle.
asking about universe. Now I'm asking why you believe in something you don't see. When you earlier said,
Well,
if I don't
I
see it,
don't
I don't
see
believe
air,
it.
but I believe in air.
Brother, again, you're running from the question.
I'm
Why
not
you
running. I'm
believe it?
right here.
I'm talking about the universe. Why you believe in universes that you don't see? When you clearly stated, if I don't see it, I don't believe it.
I don't know.
Okay, so
It's a rhetorical question, but go ahead.
so your information
One question is aliens, and another question is science.
that's not what I said.
Science has proved that there
Brother,
have been more than one universe and more than one galaxy, bro.
Did you see that?
No.
Okay, so you said if I don't see something, I don't believe it. But now you're switching
But
your
that see,
words.
but you're talking about science versus what is a fantasy.
Brother, you said if I don't see something, these your words, not mine.
But you're taking that out of context. You can't
Go
apply
ahead.
that to
I'm
everything
taking what
that
you
is being.
say.
No, but you're taking it out of context. Put it within the context. I
Okay,
cannot believe in aliens that I ain't never seen.
okay, forget about aliens. Did you see these universe?
No.
So why you believe in it? You didn't see it,
But put it into context, bro. Put it
brother.
into context.
Okay, what content you want it in? The one you see it?
But put it into the scientific. Put it into the scientific context, and yes,
Brother. Okay, I
it's
hear
very
my
real.
mic. I see where you are. Go. I hear my mic on.
Okay, okay, all right. There we go. But the idea is, look, as far as I am concerned, everybody's operating at a different level. Some of us are operating at kindergarten level on different subjects, and some of us are really high in their understanding and their interpretation of that understanding, so that when they are speaking, they can relate that particular science, because all of what we're talking about is just pure science. Where you're talking about the things we hear have to go from sound to in your ear. You're not actually seeing me. You're seeing me on a piece of glass. You're not actually hearing me. You hear me through microphone, right? So all of these different aspects of going from one extreme to the other that allows us to see, that allow us to hear, that allow us to taste, that allow us to feel is coming from outside of us, inside of us, that allow us to do what we do, right? So based on that understanding, you come away with a different level of wisdom, a different level of knowledge. And so the more that we are attuned to that knowledge, attuned to that wisdom, we get a different different understanding of where we are with what we're talking about. Now, as far as what we were just discussing, yeah, that can be argued. A lot of things can be argued, but that orb thing, no. And like I was saying, Amazing Randy would have a ball with that. You know what I mean? But
Just say the universe.
that man,
Just say
no,
the universes you don't see.
no, 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 no.
Just say those
See,
universes you ain't see yet.
that's science. You know what I mean? That's like trying to tell me that the world is flat just because you can look out into the ocean and only see a flat line. Is the Earth flat, bro, or is it round?
I'm not the one claiming it. You claiming universes. Where are
No,
these
no, no,
universes,
no.
brother?
Answer me
No,
that
I
question.
want to know where
Answer
these
me that
universes
question.
are.
There are a lot of people who think the Earth is flat.
Give me the location of the different universe. You say science. Give me location.
Bro. There's an Earth called
All right.
Kepler something.
Give
No,
me the
listen to what I'm saying.
location of the
There's a
universe.
planet. No, listen to what I'm saying. There's another Earth-like planet that is a little bit closer to the sun than where we are. But I think it's about 5 times the size of the Earth. It's called Kepler something. Have I seen that? No. I'm basing it on what has been known and developed in science. What I was just talking about earlier, the Earth is only 3 rocks from the sun. If we were living on Jupiter, which it takes longer to go around the sun, we'd be a year on Jupiter would be like, I think, like 800 years on planet Earth. You feel what I'm saying? So it really depends on the relative aspect and the relativity in which you're talking. So, as far as that goes, it depends on how you want to look at it. If that brother who had this orb floating around at his house think it's an orb or something, that's him. I didn't see one.
I ain't see the universe either, brother. Show me them.
Right, but
Give me them
you
locations.
have to get. I got a location. Just Google it.
No, I want it from you. You say it's the
People,
universe. Not me. Give me locations.
no, just Google it. People have.
You will be Googling something in your mind?
Bro, listen to what I'm saying.
I think it's a whole school, though.
Listen to what I'm saying. Oh, I'm sorry, but listen to what I'm saying.
You want me Googling in your mind, brother?
No, listen to what I'm saying. People have the whole world in the palm of their hand and don't even use it. So with that, I yield back. But there are more than just one universe, and more than just one planet, more than just one way of looking at it. And the Earth is not flat. I yield back.
All right. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. We are way beyond our time. Let's bring our brother Angel Snubnose number 7 in. He was having technical difficulties. But,
Oh no, not Angel, not Angel.
I wish we had a infinite amount of time to continue, but we don't. Maybe we can come back tomorrow if the panel is available and really get more into this discussion. But let me go ahead and bring Angel Snubnose number 7. Peace and blessings, brother. Come on in.
Yes, sir. Hey, wonderful conversation. Wonderful conversation. And unfortunately, I didn't catch you, brother and sister. Sister Gwen, what's happening? How you doing there? I got, my sister's number one priority, on my list there, Sister Gwen. Y'all all right, brothers. Y'all all right. Okay. But yeah, I was on a live stream trying to promote, Mississippi campaign. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't catch the beginning of your stream. I was in hostile territory. So I'm glad to be amongst, friends here. And I didn't want to say nothing, keep you long or anything like that. I just wanted to make a quick comment. And I just want to say for myself that I reject religion and spirituality and divinity and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that no more. I can't do that. I was raised in it. I was a Christian. I was a Muslim. I know about Hebrew Israelites. I know about all these other different forms of religious ideas or whatever. I just can't get with it no more. I view it as excuse me. Can you still hear me? Okay.
We can still hear you.
Okay, because I had a telephone call coming in. Every time my phone ring, it'll knock the volume down. So now I'm having a hard time hearing. But as long as you can hear me, I can hear you a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. For myself, I just can't do that no more. I don't see it as a reality. I just don't see it. That's for me personally. I just don't see it anymore. I see that it is very divisive. I see that it makes us look at life and things in an unrealistic type of manner. And I just can't do that no more. And I would advise those not to continue to venture in what I would call an archaic mindset. But that's a whole different topic, and we don't even have time to discuss those. I just wanted to clarify what Brother Muhammad was saying about Mississippi campaign or Operation Exodus Mississippi. I am number one. We are number one. When I talk, it's always about soul brothers and sisters. It's always about the descendants of slaves born in America. That's my number one priority. I understand 1,000% that nobody else is looking out for us. And it's going to take us to help us. However, I wish to be flexible in that as long as I get what I want. I'm not going to limit myself as far as resources just to us. If I can get something from somebody else, I don't care who the hell they are, they give it to me and I can get what I want, I'm taking it. It's simple as that. That's my position. But my top priority is changing our condition once and for all. Get us out, liberate ourselves out of this condition once and for all. I would hope, and it would be nice if all the resources come from us. That would be nice. But the reality is, chances are, that's not a reality. And again, we give our resources to other people. Our money going to China, our money going to white folks, our money going everywhere. How come we can't take theirs? get some of our money back from them suckers. Hell yeah. The reason why I'm talking to you right now is because I was flexible in the mind. So I could get what I wanted. I used everybody I could. I didn't care who they was. I used the people I did not like to get what I wanted. And that's what the number one priority is. Get what I want. Once you get what you want, you can do as you please. I want to get what I want. It's not so.
Can I tell you
I'm
something right quick?
flexible. And like Brother Malcolm used to say, by any means necessary. Look, if y'all want to do this the civil way, we can do it a civil way. But if you want to throw down, we can throw down too. I'm down for that. Got a plan for that too. You want to throw down and get down to the real nitty gritty. Now we're gonna have a whole lot of losses, but that don't make no difference to me because when it's all said and done, we still win because I want to show this peck of wood on any other enemy. You got to bring ass to get some ass. So they're not gonna come at you. Look, these crackers lost the Civil War. But after the Civil War, basically the federal government buck shuffled and danced for the South because they didn't want to go through that fight again. So they gave in a lot to the South. And if we kick some of their ass, be one black first, whoop ass, if we showed them that we're nothing to play with, they would do the same thing to us. Because you got to bring ass to get some. Because you can die just as well as I can. So it don't make me no difference. Operation Exodus, Mississippi, we can do this civilly, but if you want to throw down, we can do that too. But I would tell you quite honestly, realistically, I don't think nobody want to whoop ass. I don't think nobody want to do nothing. They just want to sit up on these YouTube channels and run their damn mouth and talk about a flying spaceship's gonna come out the sky and do something for us, and the brain is this, and we connected to the universe and all this high scholarly stuff, and you a slave. And I'm not interested in that kind of rhetoric no more. Keep that to yourself. I just want to get out of jail. I don't want your religion. I don't want your ideology. I just want to get out of jail. I want out of oppression. Y'all can argue and fight over religion and beliefs after you get liberated. Because right now, as long as you're in this jail, your belief don't mean nothing. As far as this Peckerwood is concerned, and the Chinese or anybody else, you ain't nothing but a comfortable pharaoh slave.
Hey, no,
you can call yourself whatever you want to in your imagination, but that's the reality that we're dealing with. And I want to get out of it once and for all. And we can do that if we do things appropriately in a realistic manner. And that's all I wanted to say, my brother.
Brother Seven, let me ask you a question. Do you have a driver's license and social security card?
Huh?
Yes.
Why you have that?
Why do I have that?
Yeah.
Because it's required of me for what I need to do in this country.
And where you got it from?
I got it from the people that control this nation.
Okay, but I thought you said you gotta they gotta bring ass to whoop ass, but yet you using that stuff, which means you're property, brother.
From what?
You a property of the state.
Yeah.
Okay, so why you accepting that, brother? Why don't you give it back? Because driver license
you're not making any sense. You're not making any sense.
It's a privilege. You don't need to have it. Why don't you just move on your own? Since you're saying
I have done it many times.
So
I've not paid taxes many times. So what?
Give back all the government documents, right? And just do your own thing.
You're not making any sense.
I'm making my point I'm making is that you against these people, right? If they come at you, but yet you're using them so that we have a comfortable life.
See, this is the thing about it. You living in a country under these people's laws. They have the power to back up their laws. And I have no power. Are you going to back me up? Are you gonna help me if I'm out here driving around with no driver license or whatever, and I call you, hey, say, are you gonna back me up? What's the power that's gonna back me up?
All right, let
I
me
have
respond.
no power.
So let me respond to that. The same way how I'm talking about getting on the lines of the Creator, which is a protection. You say you don't believe in that stuff. So why you believe in the white man stuff? So get rid of it.
I don't believe in the white man stuff.
Well, but that's what you're using.
You on YouTube? Why are you on YouTube?
The
That's the
point
white
is,
man
brother,
stuff.
you the one who's claiming these things, not me. So all I'm saying is give back their stuff. You don't
I'm
want
not
their
screaming nothing.
religion,
I'm talking about taking control of things that's in this nation. Get me a piece of it. Let me control some of it.
so give back the
That's what I'm
privilege
talking
to
about.
drive. Try driver's license, give back that privilege.
I'm not
Give back.
giving back nothing. You talking nonsense. You talking sheer nonsense.
Okay, brother. Stay underneath their laws then.
All
Brother
right,
I don't know.
Marvin,
we
You
can I
playing
say
some
something?
ring
Can
around
I
the
say
roses,
something?
bozo the clown stuff. I don't.
let,
I don't do that.
Brother Marvin,
I'm
can I
dealing
say
with the
something right quick?
reality of the situation that I live in. I don't know where you coming from.
You a property of
Maybe
the
you on
state.
planet Jupiter somewhere. I don't know where you coming from.
You a property of the state, brother. Okay? Be a good property and do what you have to do right.
Brother Marvin, can I say something right quick?
right quick because we
Okay.
about to
Yeah.
go to closing
Okay.
statements.
All right. There's been a whole mountain in Africa. I forget. I believe I said it to you and to Brother Omar. There's a whole mountain that was practically made of gold that brothers are getting rich off of. And that Africa is now, instead of sending its gold out to be processed, it is doing it itself. But that was just one of the things I wanted to. A whole
Mm.
mountain of gold has been found. Not a little hill, a mountain of gold, practically made out that bit. But
Mm.
Africa is not poor. Africa is not poor,
Oh
and
no.
I yield back.
Yes, sir. Thank you, beloved. All right, we are almost at 3 hours, and we were only supposed to be on for 2 hours, so we
Mm.
are way over our time. But I wanted to say this, and then we're going to go to um, closing comments. Um, and Brother Omar, I thought about what you said real hard, and then I also went to look up what is their definition of inhumanity.
Mm.
And what it says is extremely cruel and brutal behavior, right? And so I use that definition, and you would have to tell me if you're using a different definition for it. Because what I said was if there was a truckload of cracker babies or Chinese babies or even Arab babies, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. It would not move me to tears, not one bit. And, even I've said it before, it could be a truckload of police and they dead. It would not bring me to tears. Um, because I see them as an enemy. That's how I see them. I don't see them as being friends to black us. So
Mm.
if a million of them die, then that's a million of our enemies we don't even have to worry about, right? So I agree that we should not um, lower ourselves to match the enemy in evil, right? There's just certain things that I'm just not going to do. I don't give a damn. I'm just not going to do it, right? Now, when it comes to battle, when it comes to warfare, then the only rule I function off of is we kill the enemy until the enemy cry for peace. When they want to say, okay, I don't want to fight, I put this down, da, 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 then we can start thinking about stop killing them, right? Other than that, it's even Steven. And I want our people to understand What was the creation? Why did Sister Gwen said, what was the purpose for life? Right? What's the purpose for life? So I sit and I'm thinking, what was the purpose for evil? What was the purpose of these demons walking around and just doing evil just free and clear? And it goes back what something that I heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say is that prior to the advent of the cracker, it was just black us, right? And then some of us started to do things that we should not do, that was opposite of the nature that we have. So the God said, well, okay, you know you shouldn't be doing this, but you wouldn't do it anyway. All right. Well, I'm going to show you what evil given power would do. And therefore, you being under this evil for a prescribed amount of time, you now know the full range of what the evil given power would do. And so you would suffer under that. And when you come out from under that, you don't want nothing to do with anything that's evil. You're going to live your nature perfectly. So go, and to me, that ties in to what Sister Gwen says about you got to have a new way of life. You got to have a new book. And it has to be outside of the range of this enemy and have to live our natural self, right? So that's coming back to that consciousness that was talked about earlier from Brother Jess, that what I would call that God consciousness. And in that God consciousness is what we go through or get into for B1. Right? We raise up into a God consciousness. We go through the fire. And so going through the fire, what happens? We go, and the fire is the life of this cracker's world, right? We go through the fire to be perfected into whom we should be, because in order to get out of the range, just like when they sending the spaceship up in the orbit, it has to go through fire, right? And so if we're going up in orbit, going up in consciousness, we got to go through fire, and going through the fire, the dross of the evil of this world and their ways gets burnt out off of us. So those little trappings that the enemy has, his money, his lifestyle, these things that are used to buy off black leadership. These things that are used to attract the ignorant of our people, and they go get a cracker woman thinking that they really got something. So we go through the fire, then those things are burnt off of us. And coming out of that fire, we are birthed into a new being.
Amen.
And that's what I believe that we're about. So I don't think it's inhumane not to care about an enemy, because that they have not been friendly to us. They have not been friendly to us. So I want to get your reply on that, your thinking on that, so I can go take, because I know you're going to drop something heavy as you always do, and send me back to go studying some more. And this is why I love conversation like this, because it challenges me and it makes me to go study more, and I'm going to learn more and more. So that way, we get even more stronger, more powerful to do what need to be done. So I'm going to let Brother Omar answer what I just threw out. And then after he's finished, then we're going to give closing arguments. I mean, not closing arguments. We're going to give our closing for this evening. And again, if we want to do a part two to this conversation, I'm open to doing a live tomorrow. If y'all want to come back tomorrow and do this. Brother Omar?
Yes. Thank you very much for the question, because it's important that we, that we speak on these things, because number 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 one, I'm somewhat hesitant to give white people a pass. Okay, what I mean by that is, if God is responsible for the hellishness that white people have poured upon the black people of this planet, then God is to blame and not white people. Then I would have to agree with the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, where he said that it wasn't the pigmentation of the whiteness of the white man that made him evil. He said that the pigmentation of the whiteness of the white man gave him a natural inclination to evil. He said, but what made him evil, because now we go from God being to blame to the black man being to blame. Yaqub, he said it was the teachings of Yaqub, the technology, is what made him evil. That's why according to the lessons, they can become Muslims. You know, so I'm just hesitant to give them that pass, to put it on God and to put it on us. I believe. Now, am I saying that the teachings that Muhammad taught, I'm gonna give him respect and say the teaching that Master Farad Muhammad gave, and the teachings that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave, is profound teaching. But what happens is our lack of understanding of those teachings. Now, in terms of, okay, let me finish on that first, is that I can't give them a pass. So what I would have to do, until a better understanding of that particular teaching comes about, I would have to reject that. Okay, and I'm not rejecting it because I'm saying that, hey, it's wrong. I'm rejecting it because there is no clear understanding of it. Okay, and so that's why I believe that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad May his soul rest in peace. He knew that there would come a time when we would have to take another look at what he taught. Okay, now, does everything that he taught have to be taken a look at? No, but a lot of the allegorical stuff, we have to take another look at it. Just like even in the Holy Quran that he pointed us to, it said there are in this book there are verses that are plain and simple. He said also in the book, the Quran, there are verses that are allegorical. That is not, that are, they are not, they stand to be interpreted. All I'm sharing is I have questioned the allegories. I have questioned those that wasn't plain and simple. Okay, and I have and I will and I do question any teaching that will put the blame, because what that teaching does, it exonerates white people. They only did what God wanted them to do, and that is to fuck us over for a certain period of time in hopes that we would learn a lesson. Something's wrong with that. I'm going to suggest that it might need to take another look at it, and so that we can get a clear understanding of it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that when he go, that the one coming after him would not use anything of the old. He would bring about a whole new teaching. That is why I have a problem with Minister Farrakhan, because I believe that he could have helped our people better by not taking us back to that which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad himself said would not be used after he passed on. In fact, if we look into his books that he wrote, he states it in those books. Not the lessons. He stated in the books that he wrote in the latter part of his life. And I believe that an individual, when they know that they are feeble and that their lifespan is short, they're going to give you that which you need to go forward. Now, that's what I have to say on that. We can discuss it further. I have no problem coming back tomorrow night. You know, I have held off for many years in dealing with Minister Farrakhan. You know, out of respect to the people that follow him. You know, but he has a lot that he have to answer to, not to me, to whatever God that he believes in. Okay. I don't fault the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not choose Minister Farrakhan. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad chose his son, Wallace. And They took all the tapes that Minister Farrakhan has put out there now, that that Wallace was a hypocrite and that he changed the teachings. His father knew he changed the teachings, and he still chose and put him in charge because he wanted this community to go forward. Now, did Wallace make mistakes? Of course he did. We all human beings. We all make mistakes. And just like I will talk about the mistakes that Minister Farrakhan made, I will also talk about the mistakes that Imam Wafdi Muhammad made also. I was fortunate to be a Muslim when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was present with us. So I'm not going on what someone tell me. I'm going on what I know, what I saw with my own eyes, what I heard with my own ears. Now, what was the last question that you asked?
Actually, I forgot.
But okay, I apologize. It's just that I wanted to deal with that, because that is kind of important, and I will since we don't you don't forgot, I don't forgot, so I can't answer what I don't know, but what I will say is this, is that we as black people, I'm talking about indigenous ex-slaves here in this country, we have to be very careful who we choose as our leaders. What do I mean by that? Barack Obama, with him, our enemy pulled the quick one. He chose someone who, number one, had no connection with the indigenous ex-slaves here in this country. His mother was white and his father was Kenyan. So Barack Obama had no connection with us. Likewise, Minister Farrakhan have no indigenous connection with us here in this country. Minister Farrakhan's father was white and his mother was West Indian. So he has no indigenous connections with us here in this country. So he's not, he is not, was not, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would have never chose him to be the head for black indigenous ex-slaves here in this country. Would never have chosen him for that reason and that reason alone. That was the main reason why Farad Muhammad had to leave, because he had no connections with the indigenous ex-slaves here in this country. He would have been an improper head. So these are things that we have to discuss. Now, let me say this though. We don't have to discuss this with this particular platform, but it needs to be discussed. We need to pick a proper head for us. Not only do we need to choose our own name, we have to stop. I mean, I love our brothers and sisters from the island. I love Marcus Garvey. He had no connection. Minister Farrakhan has no connection. We're talking black first, right? So we have to. We have to realize what that means, especially for us here. I remember. Okay, look, I know we're over time. I'm gonna yield my mic because I know we have to go. It's over 3 hours. But I mean, tomorrow night, we can come together and we can discuss these things. Because they're kind of important. If we are really going to do something unique for us, there are some things we have to discuss as a people. Because it's no accident that we have gotten no further than we've gotten. It's because the people that we have entrusted to lead us didn't have our best interests at heart. Like I said, I love my brothers and sisters from the island, but unfortunately, we have to establish treaties with them. We can't entrust our future as a people to anyone but us. Then you will see how we will progress. Thank you, Brother Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sister Gwen?
Well, I said pretty much everything I wanted to say, either in the chat, writing notes, or in one of the two chats. We have two chat rooms, um, writing notes, one among ourselves on StreamYard, another one on YouTube. And I pretty much said everything. That's it. I got nothing else.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Brother
welcome.
Jesus?
Yeah, you can hear me? Yeah, so
Yes,
I
we hear
definitely
you.
appreciate the opportunity to be on, and everyone who was able to speak freely and to express themselves, because a lot of times, we don't have a chance to express ourselves. And again, I definitely appreciate the brother Omar for expressing some of the ancient knowledge that he has back in the day. So that's a great thing, to be one of the guys who was actually there to speak from your sight. Not to speak because you believe and hope it will say it that way, but what you actually know for yourself. And that's what's going to set us free. It's knowing. Not believing. It's actually knowing. I mean, you may start off with belief, but you got to get to knowing. That's what's going to set us free, the knowing part. And I definitely look forward to, probably speak even offline with the brother Omar, because there's things in his brother that he has in him and hesitant to release. There's things in that brother that he's very hesitant to release, and I see it. And I think everyone else, Sister Glenn, even you, Isaiah, who see and believe once in a while depends on your mind. Even you, I want to thank you, and definitely brother Maurice. You know, definitely thank you again for allowing me to be on this panel to express myself. The rest of my night.
Thank you, Brother Jess. Brother Isaiah.
Uh, yeah, brother Omar, man, look, let me tell you about this nigga. I can't stand that nigga. Obama had just came out with his own admission that he did not put forth any legislation for reparation for black folks because this dumb gay nigga, and he is gay, all right, that he didn't want to offend white folks. This motherfucker don't, bitch, what? I read that like, huh? Who give a fuck about offending white folks, man? White folks offend themselves. You see, it goes back to knowing what us is just saying. A lot of people don't know we've been done had our rights in the 1860s, but we acting like we just got it in 1960 at the behest and opinion of somebody that's a doctor. But I had to come up in this motherfucker. I only been in this bitch for 3 days, but Omar. Now I had to correct this motherfucker talking about, well, we just got our rights in the 1960s. What, nigga, what? No, motherfucker. Don't think. Don't guess. No. I know, motherfucker. I know. Because I know we can use that shotgun of the 1860s to get everything we want back and then some. So there's no reason for us dying and being shot and being killed or a king dying, mega ever die. All these civil rights people, they died for nothing. We already had that motherfucker since the 1860s. People were petitioning white folks to eat in a nasty ass goddamn restaurant with some salty ass food. For what? For what? Because of ignorance. We've always had our rights as an American citizen. We've been in this motherfucker because we are the one who created the 13 colonies. How the fuck can we not be American citizens of this bitch? It became more concrete after the U.S. Constitution was consecrated. That Abraham Lincoln made it more concentrated with the passage of the Emancipation Proclamation that freed white slaves and black slaves, but basically freed everybody. Not to get into any discussion, brother Muhammad. I'm just saying, let's fill me out here. So, with all of that being said, those laws, that civil rights law of 1860, was for everybody, put everybody on an even level playing field. Now, with that being said, and brother Omar was referencing Farrakhan, from what I heard, that man had a sexual homo relationship. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, that leaves a lot of things. It leaves a lot of open questions. You know what I mean? But then again, everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. But if you are a true man, you ain't gonna make that goddamn mistake. You have some fairy in this and you somewhere. But with all that being said, I just wanted to round it up. How did you say? Yeah, round it up, round it down. I'm tired. Shit. I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. Well, let me just say this. And we talked about this a lot, but we'll pick it up tomorrow. Is that our ancestors weren't stupid? We had over 20 million acres. It was white folk that came into power because had a way of getting past it all by taking advantage of those positions in the U.S. Supreme Court, local court, and state court. They passed laws, regulations, and policies that benefited white folks and disenfranchised black people. Then you get into the daughters of the Confederacy and children of the Confederacy with their lies and deceit that has allowed this current generation of white folks to think they done did it all by themselves, pulled themselves up by their bootstraps.
we know that shit ain't true. All right. So with all that being said, when we look at the Black Wall Street, our money ran around in our community 30 times, in the white community once, if it made it around that motherfucker one time. So there's been a flip in the script. So if we did it before, we can do it again. And I yield back.
All right. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. Brother Omar, I know you answered the question, but you want to give some closing comments?
Yes. My closing comment is it's basically an apology. Okay, and that is basically on my last Discord, and that is the wrong place. It was the wrong situation to bring up anything about Minister Farrakhan. Not that anything I said is untrue. It's just the wrong place to bring it up. So I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have done that on your site.
No, you don't owe me. No, sir, Brother Omar, you don't owe me an apology for bringing that up. What it's a topic of conversation that obviously must be had, and I think that through conversations is where, as I said earlier, I learn, we all learn. But we'll deal with that tomorrow, and each of the points that you brought up. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to the believers, he said, "Look, people can criticize me. They can criticize me. Don't you think that they can't? Because that's their right to do." Um, and he has taught us properly. So we should be able to listen to the criticism and then give how we see it. So you never have to apologize. This is a forum. You say what you got to say. It's all in love. Um, and we talk about it and we deal with it. That's just how it is. But we're family. So
Beyond a doubt.
no biggie.
Okay. I appreciate you, sir.
Definitely. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my little closing comments. This was a very excellent program. Sorry we went over by an hour and 27 minutes, but it was a very very good program. And we will be back tomorrow, 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully our panel members will come back. We're definitely going to talk about the stuff that Brother Omar talked about with Minister Farrakhan and what Brother Isaiah talked about with Brother Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan. We're going to deal with, if Brother Jess is back with us tomorrow, we're going to deal some more on what he was talking about as well. And hopefully Angel Snubnose #7 will be able to join us. Um, it's an excellent conversation and it's more learning. We're learning in that, and as we grow. And I definitely look forward to each and every time that we get together. So don't forget, I will be emailing everybody, getting you the link, 5 o'clock tomorrow. And as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black First, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. See you tomorrow.
Stay black. Stay black.
Good night. Destroy the demons, destroy the demon kin, and power and blessings.
Stay black.
Peace, peace. Shalom.
Shalom. Stay black.